Do you all have some scissors? I messed it up, but it's gonna be alright. I'm gonna figure it out. Oh, I got it. Sorry, I got it. Hey, I'm Simone Missick, lover of cashews, and you know me as Misty Knight from Marvel's Luke Cage. Khal, Frazier, I have taken over your space. Wish you could have been here, but you couldn't. So the show was going to go on without you, whether you liked it or not. Thank you. And I hope you enjoy watching Luke Cage, Season 2. And if you don't, I don't care, because you're not here. So where we see Misty at the beginning of the season, she's in a really vulnerable and low place, but she has lost her arm. She is no longer a detective. She's really down on herself, and her identity is completely gone. She runs into some people that she has good relationships with, and then some people she has bad relationships with that all spur her to pick herself up, to get a prosthetic arm, to get back out there and start kicking some ass. So when we shot the first 4 episodes, it was me literally fighting with one arm tied behind my back. And when they put that dang arm on, there was like 50 people and they're standing around. They're like, oh my God, my arm is coming. So they put this arm on. It's like all these different pieces. They get it in. They're like, all right, now reach for your gun. And I'm like, Tin Man, I can't even move. It's so tight. That thing went through maybe 10 different generations before they got it to a place where I could be mobile and fight and move in it. And it absolutely affects the way you as an actor act, because you're like, this really hurts. So that scowl that you see on Misty's face this whole season isn't just because she's pissed off at Mariah. She's in pain, in a lot of physical pain. I got a chance to play around with Colleen Wing, aka Jessica Hennick, in season 2 of Iron Fist, and that's my girl. Like, I love her. She's not only fun and funny and smart, but she's a phenomenal actress. She kicks ridiculous ass. If they want to do a Daughters of the Dragon, if they wanted to do that show, I would absolutely do it, to have 2 women of color in power, kicking ass, protecting their community, looking out for each other, not vying for the affection or attention of a man, but really, tackling some in-depth issues. It's a no-brainer. What is amazing about this season is that it goes beyond Harlem and we go into Brooklyn. And when we go into Brooklyn, we're exposed to Jamaican culture. It adds this element of not only the idea of super powered people or people with special abilities, but it also brings in the culture of what is voodoo and Santeria and, the usage of the orishas and all of those things that people of color that live everywhere from South America, from New Orleans, from the Mississippi and South Carolina, all the way down to Brazil and all the way over to West Africa and the continent of Africa. All of these people of color are familiar with these elements. For us to be able to introduce that onto Luke Cage and for it to be a believable storyline, and it sets those 2 characters up so well that I can't wait for the fans to see where Bushmaster and Tilda Johnson head. Our showrunner, Cheo Hodari Coker, has put women at the forefront of his storytelling. Although the show is called Luke Cage, you have all of these women around him that are strong, that are well developed, that are interesting and deep. You see Misty going on this journey to figuring out her true power, and at the same time, Mariah, played by Alfre Woodard, is going on her journey. Alfre relates it to her character walking through the world like a 21-year-old white man of privilege. And the idea of that a woman, and a black woman, as she calls it, a colorful woman, can walk through the world with the same confidence and expectancy as a young man who feels like he has the world in the palm of his hands, is something we've never seen on television before. I had someone ask me, how does it feel to be able to display the same rage and anger that you normally see reserved for white male superheroes? And I thought it feels fucking fantastic because anytime a woman, especially a black woman, displays any emotion other than bereavement over the loss of a dead child or a man leaving her for another man or some other kind of crazy storyline, she's labeled as crazy, difficult, negative, the angry black woman trope that we see. And I think here Misty's allowed to be angry and carry rage and supreme indignation with no apologies. I often think about growing up in the 80s and 90s and having shows like The Cosby Show, A Different World, Living Single, Martin, Family Matters, Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Like it just goes on and on and on. And all of these stories that have people of color, that have black people in the center of the storytelling. And that was the norm. It's like kids who grow up and the only president that they knew was Barack Obama. You are born into this renaissance of amazingness when it comes to representation. And then there was a dearth. There was a time when you could not see a black person or a person of color being the lead of a storyline on TV or in films. And to be a part of this revival almost, what feels like a second coming of that time, I know that we are all a part of history. Black Lightning and Black Panther being a successful TV show and a movie that completely broke all box office and worldwide barriers and ideas of what do people globally want to see. To be a part of that conversation, to know that Luke Cage was the first, that it laid the groundwork for those shows to be successful, is an amazing thing. That some of those shows got greenlit because of Luke Cage. You feel like you are right where you need to be, and that generations from now, this is a turning point where people will go, remember when there was a time when there were no black superheroes? And now they're everywhere, and it's not just black, it's Asian, it's Latino, it's gay, lesbian, queer, it's Native American. We're seeing all of this color and various shades of people represented. It's amazing to be a part of.